So welcome to 2022. Admittedly, it is the 30th, but by the time this releases, it will be the brand new year. I hope you're all safe, doing well, and a quick little positive affirmation to kick off the year. I'm proud of you. You're doing amazing. This year is going to be your year. In whatever your endeavors may be, you will be successful. I believe in you. I thought I would do something a little bit out of character and talk about some anime. I don't really do that all too often, and I felt like this is one of the best times to do it. To start off the new year, let's look at some of the anime that will most likely be releasing this year. Because currently at the moment there is quite a hefty list, and I have compiled some of the more known ones that I think a lot of people will be excited for. Some pretty big titles, some surprising titles, and everything in between. So while it may not be every single anime that is going to release this year, it's going to be a good portion of some of the more popular names, and some that potentially I may check out, because to be honest, I have been slacking. I have struggled to watch anime on my own regards for many years now, so maybe within this year I might try and change that. With that, however, let's begin. So to start this off, I do have a bit of context. Some of these have dates, some of these are movies, and some of these don't have dates. I'm not entirely sure when these may release, but they have an estimated release date of this year. The potential of them being pushed back to 2023 is very high for some of these titles, so take it with a grain of salt if possible. Some of these may already have release dates that I have just completely missed out on, so I apologize in advance. But to kick it off nice and strong, Chainsaw Man's anime. Obviously, you all know that I am very excited for this, and I most likely will cover it here on the channel, at least to a certain extent. I don't know how much, it may not be every single episode, but I do want to have a good hefty look at it and indulge within it. I'm very excited to see how they approach this show and what tone or atmosphere that they want to produce, and just judging by the trailers already, it seems like they want to give it the most respect possible, which makes me extremely excited. And just to couple onto this as an extra bonus, the manga is also releasing sometime of summer next year, so within the next 6 months we may potentially see Chainsaw Man Part 2's manga, and that is a whole new realm of possibilities, which I'm sure a lot of people are excited to start reading Chainsaw Man once again, possibly every single week. Blue Lock is also getting its anime this year, not entirely sure when, but this has increasingly gained traction over the past, I want to say 3 to 6 months, maybe even longer, just during the previous year. And while it does showcase a different perspective for football, which for a lot of people may be really intriguing, and for others may be really disrespectful or just kind of out of place or out of character, it does have a lot of opportunity to reinvigorate the sports genre in a different light. So while you may not like it because you yourself are a big fan of football or quote-unquote soccer, there may be an interesting interpretation here for you. I read the manga for this, I even made a video on it, and it is enjoyable within its own rights, but nothing overly special or overly spectacular. And I'm always curious to see how the sports manga translates to an anime. Usually very intuitive. Made in Abyss Season 2, I remember when the first season came out, I never actually finished it, but it was very interesting. It felt new and refreshing, and I've only heard really great things about it. So maybe when Season 2 comes around, it might actually push me to read it, which I feel like would make for an interesting video. So if you would be interested in seeing a video talking about Made in Abyss's manga, do let me know. Overlord Season 4. Didn't know this had 4 seasons. I only continuously hear great things about it and how it's a really good show. I know literally nothing about it, but here it is, Season 4. I put this one in here as a little bit of a curveball, but Cyberpunk Edgerunners. CD Projekt Red has had a pretty rough time since the launch of Cyberpunk, to put lightly, and within their catalog of what they wanted to achieve within 2022 and 2023, one of those things was an anime for their game. I don't really know if it would be its own different story or some sort of interpretation of the game, but seemingly with what the very early or pre-conceptualized stuff that they did release for it, it's going to be within the world of Cyberpunk, and that was basically all we know. There is a lot of potential here, especially with the recent increase and want for highly creative and intuitive animation projects, especially within the TV genre. Arcane has blown this up exponentially with a massive massive increase in quality and just beautiful. Even shows like Invincible, for example, has sparked that interest once again. As much as the studio is kind of cleaning up a pretty rough production and everything in between, I'm very curious to see what Cyberpunk Edge Runners may actually be. It could be something special, or it could be something that kind of gets lost with time and overshadowed by something else entirely. Now, for a handful of these, I do actually have some dates, which makes it a little bit easier. For the Magi fans, the author's new work, Orient, I believe it's called, is getting its anime very soon, starting on January 5th. I haven't heard all too much about this, nor have I heard many people talking about it, but from what I remember from reading Magi, the author tends to excel in these very politically driven stories, and from my very loose knowledge, I believe Orient is a step back from that and something more battle shonen, to put simply. Could be completely wrong, it's very loose information within my head, so if you have read Orient and if you're excited for it, definitely let me know why. Attack on Titan's final season part 2 starting January 9th. A lot of people are obviously excited for this. I'm still kind of avoiding anything Attack on Titan like it's the plague and don't really want to start any sort of type of dialogue or conversation about it. So if you are excited for it, I'm more than happy for you. Hopefully it's going to be a good experience and you can witness the end and make your own decision on how you feel about the ending. That's if they add anything in between to help fill in those gaps a little bit more. The Saga of Tanya the Evil Season 2 is coming out supposedly sometime in January. I actually watched the first season of this, was very confused on what I was watching because it was many years ago, but I actually really enjoyed the concept for it. Not the whole, from what I remember, rebirth situation, but just the idea of this very young child that's clearly very psychotic, mixed in with all of this wrongdoing and warfare and politics, and definitely a lot of heftiness behind it. Will I check out season 2? Maybe not, but I'll keep my eye out for it just in case it piques my interest. I think a lot of people will be excited for this because the reception for the first season was pretty good from what I remember. A series that I am very excited for and will 100% watch because I absolutely love the manga, Spy X Family, releasing sometime in April. I only have praise for Spy X Family and I understand it's not up everyone's alley. For me, personally, I adore it, I love it, and I'm very excited to see what the anime can produce. The voice actors so far are perfect, they are spot on, and I'm hoping they can capture that charm of the dynamics between the family and the severity underneath it all. There's a lot of great and creative things that they can do with Spy X Family and I'm very interested, I'm very excited. Kaguya-sama Season 3 coming out sometime in April. Didn't actually know this was getting a third season, but more than happy that it is. This is a series that I feel like a lot more people should read. It definitely masquerades as just a very simplistic romance, but underneath all of that is a very heartfelt, emotionally driven, and a rather in-depth story. There is inherently a lot of fun to be had with Kaguya-sama, but the nuance between these relationships, the thought process that goes into it, the mental hurdles and struggles, conflicts, everything is clearly thought out and precise. It makes for a beautiful reading experience, and the anime has managed to translate that over extremely well. I think a lot of people are going to be very excited for this series, and you only have to wait till April to get it. This one may trigger a little bit of nostalgia within people, but Devil is a Part-Timer Season 2 releasing sometime within July. I don't know how many years it has been since I've personally watched this, but it feels like it's been an eternity. There is something about Devil is a Part-Timer where it just has this charm or alluring nature to it. It's nothing inherently special or revolutionary or groundbreaking, but for a lot of people they just watch it and it has this, once again, charm and has this appeal that is just really enjoyable. You don't have to take it too seriously, but it hits all of those notes really well for yourself. So I think just like Kaguya-sama, but this one's more of a nostalgia route, a lot of people will be excited for this because everyone has been begging for this show to get a second season for years, and we are finally getting it. Of course, I can't have a list without mentioning Bleach's final anime arc, releasing sometime within October. This is a massive win for Bleach fans. They have been asking for years upon years for some sort of continuation of the anime. And while for a decent portion of time all hope seemed lost, we finally got that news. We got that announcement that something was coming for the Bleach anime, and then just recently we got the trailer for it. And it has reignited this deep hidden love for Bleach that a lot of people have tucked away. It's now coming back out. You get to experience the finale of Bleach in its animated glory, so hopefully it's extremely well done. If I'm mentioning Bleach, I also have to mention My Hero Season 6. Unfortunately, I feel like My My Hero is in a very odd position currently. I know a lot of people are obviously still massive fans on it and have done incredible numbers this year in terms of manga sales, but I believe the story is coming to a conclusion. It may have only around 50 to 60 chapters remaining, just under a singular year potentially, and the consensus that I continue to see is that it feels extremely rushed. So I'm hoping Horikoshi can take his time with it in whatever length and enjoy himself within the final moments, within the final climatic arc of his story. The small portions of My Hero that I've read and some of Horikoshi's previous work, he's a very talented individual, and I only wish the best for him. To Your Eternity, Season 2 comes out sometime this year. I'm not too sure how people felt about the first season, but I personally read the manga and it was incredible. It's gorgeous. I didn't watch the anime, but upon hearing nothing, I also heard a tiny bit of it was pretty good. Nothing overly crazy, but just a good adaptation. So I'm sure a lot of people are going to be happy with Season 2. And lastly, to end off this portion of the list, we have an anime adaptation for Uzumaki coming out within October. This in itself is a pretty big thing. Uzumaki getting a little animation project, I believe it's like 4 to 5 episodes of the infamous Junji Ito's works, is definitely a good thing to look forward to. It's bringing a whole new creative aesthetic and artistic flair to the horrifying works of Uzumaki and how that can be translated over to an anime product. Hopefully it ends up doing it justice. So those are some of the anime series, but I thought I would touch on some of the movies alongside them. So starting off, Jujutsu Kaisen's Volume 0 movie. This just recently released within the month of December, but we are getting an English release sometime within the next 6 months. I feel like I've seen a number around June, July, so a lot of people are very excited for this. I'm extremely excited for this. I've read the prequel manga, I know the material, I know they're filling in blanks for the material, so it's going to be a lot more cohesive and precise and really paint a much better image for that prequel story, with the animation and the voice acting and the quality and the creativity that goes with it being utterly crisp. I'm extremely excited to watch it. This one is actually a surprising one. Fruits Basket's Prelude movie coming out February 4th within Japan. Fruits Basket is iconic, and having the mastered or newer version of the anime that's been worked on for the past 3 to 5 years has been nothing but a dream. It has reignited that hardcore love for the show with a new beautiful color palette and storytelling experience. Seeing that be successful enough to produce a movie, a prelude, a prequel to the anime itself, focusing on the parents, is a very great thing. And I know Fruits Basket fans are absolutely frothing at the mouth to get this movie within them. For all the Dragon Ball fans, the Dragon Ball superhero film, such an odd name, is releasing in April. I know a lot of people are excited for Dragon Ball and the movies always do well, so there you go. For anyone that even knows what Free is, it's like a swimming anime, that's getting a movie coming out in April. This one surprised me. The Quintessential Quintuplets movie, I believe, is coming out in May. There was recently a release date that I seen somewhat 3 days ago, and I briefly remember it within my head, and I think it said May, but it could be June, and now I'm doubting myself, but maybe within the first 6 to 7 months, just to cover that area. I actually remember when people talked about this consistently, at least the manga, and then the anime came around, and then I think a lot of people weren't necessarily happy with it, and then the manga ended and people weren't necessarily happy with the manga. So I'm not entirely sure, that could be wrong. I haven't really kept tabs on the Quintessential Quintuplets updates, but it's getting a movie. It might be good, it might potentially not be, and you may or may not be excited for it. If you are a Quintessential Quintuplet fan, do let me know. I'm interested to see what the reception towards this movie actually is. Surprisingly, Slam Dunk is getting a movie. This is within a very early stage of conception, but it is happening. It's probably not going to release this year, but knowing that Slam Dunk, which is a very iconic manga, is getting a movie adaptation is a really exciting time, and I wish all the best for it. And last but not least, to end off this list, One Piece Film Red. It has a release date of this year, most likely will be 2023, but all I know is that people go absolutely crazy for One Piece films. It's been a handful of years, I believe, since the previous one, and this one is focusing on some very specific characters, some very big characters, so there is a lot of excitement there for it. So this wraps up a good handful of anime and animated movies that will potentially be releasing this year. And this list is definitely subject to change, but just this list alone, however, is pretty healthy. It's going to be a very exciting year for anime fans, and it's kicking off very soon. You add on top of that all of the incredible manga that's going to be released this year, and you have such an enjoyable experience. To add on top of that all of the other entertainment that's going to be released this year, movies, TV shows, games, etc. It is a massive time for the entertainment industry. It's going to be a very interesting year, that's for sure. Endtime. So welcome to the end of the video. If you have made it this far, I want to thank you. I appreciate you. But do let me know what you are most excited for this year. What anime, what manga, TV show, game, etc. It could be anything within the entertainment industry. It could be anything at all, actually. There is a litany of different things releasing this year, some with and some without release dates, but fingers crossed everything goes well for your favorite show. But I'd love to know your thoughts within the comment section below. With that, I want to thank you all for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Leave a like and subscribe. I greatly appreciate it. Drink plenty of water, and I will see you within the next one. Goodbye.